Are there some project documents that you would like to see discussed? Have you become a raving fan as a result of certain project documents that you've used? If you have, I would like to know which ones they are. And perhaps we could create a video to feature that special document or tool that you found to be useful. Today, we're talking about a tool I have found to be phenomenal in managing projects, software projects. Now, before we get into it, let me excuse my loose language by calling it a tool. This is actually an output of the collect requirements process. It's called a requirements traceability matrix. The requirements traceability matrix is a document that tracks requirements to their origin. It could also be used to track, as I used it, requirement to use case, priceless, requirement to test script, even better. Because as we began to test the software, we were able to link each requester of a requirement to that specific test. We got them to test their requirements, and we had another field that tracked the requester to a signature, electronic or otherwise, to signify that they had signed off on those deliverables. Awesome tool. Well, output to be PMBOK compliant. Now, let's take a look at that particular section in the PMBOK guide. Follow me to the outputs of 5.2 on page 148 and 149. It says the requirements traceability matrix is a grid that links product requirements from their origin to the deliverables that satisfy them. The implementation of a requirements traceability matrix helps ensure that each requirement adds business value by linking it to the business and project objectives. It provides a means to track the requirement throughout the project lifecycle. Pretty remarkable. The project that I used this on the most had so many requirements coming out of the woodworks, we needed something to keep them straight. So we used a requirements traceability matrix in Excel to track these 127 different requirements and map each of them to the requesters that asked for them. It was an invaluable way of keeping our project straight, making sure that we had accounted for all of those requirements and testing each requirement, getting sign-off, getting buy-in that indeed that deliverable, that software implementation was good to go. Without the requirements traceability matrix, we would never have been able to do it. Page 149 has an example of this. It's got a requirements description and many other fields. However, one thing it is missing, in my opinion, is the source. Who did it come from? And this is one of the most valuable pieces of the requirements traceability matrix. So if you're getting ready for your PMP exam and you're wondering, what is the relevance of this versus requirements documentation? This is a summary. There are many projects where you will not track a requirement to a requester. You'll not track a requirement to its origin, but you definitely will capture those requirements. Let me give you some examples of these on page 147. These are called requirements documents. The catchphrase for anything that falls outside of requirements traceability matrices could be bucketized under requirements documentation. These are requirements in a different form, but again, it provides valuable insights as to how the requirements meet the business need. So if you go to page 148, it itemizes the types of requirements that such a document could capture: business, stakeholder, solution, transition and readiness, project requirements, quality requirements. Not every project uses an RTM, even though I've listed it as one of my favorites. And a must know for the exam. Bear in mind, there are a lot of organizations that do not use this. Okay, I hope you found this to be useful. Remember, requirements exist in many other forms. And in the second phase of these discussions, we'll be talking about one of them. Not immediately, but eventually. We'll be talking about user stories. User stories are great, but so is the RTM. See you in the next episode.